Gotta adjust the mic. I was recording a minute ago. What is going on? Who do we have? Keith, you're first up. Let's see. I'm going to pull up a different sound. I was messing around, still working on, love this sound. Oh, not this one. See, weird. Oh, this is a different sound, sorry. But let me create just a patch real quick. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, bum. Just because we're going to keep working on the pentatonic. And I'm going to keep working on pentatonic number 1. I just really want you guys to get under your fingers, and we're going to kind of explore. We're going to go exploring from pentatonic number 1. Let's see. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use our knowledge, dangerous thing. We're going to use our knowledge to come up with the scale below and the scale above. Kind of a unique way for me to teach this. Normally I would just teach pentatonic number 1, here's number 2, here's number 3, here's number 4, here's number 5, memorize. But I was thinking that probably, we were talking about bending, and I was saying that it's real important if you're going to bend, you want to know what you're bending to. You don't have to necessarily know what note name it is. You don't need to know you're bending from D to E, for example. But you do need to know, okay, I'm going to bend up a whole step, and that's going to be in the key. So if you're bending, if you're going to, you want to know what note you're going to. Like I said, too often I'll see people go like that, and it's like, what are you doing? What notes are you going to? You're not getting to any of them. And so you just don't bend willy-nilly. You kind of have to have a plan as far as where you want to go. Bends are easier in the middle of the neck. Okay, the closer you are to the nut, the harder they're going to be. The closer you are to the bridge, the harder they're going to get. So if you're right in the middle, probably the easiest fret to bend is the 12th fret, because that's where you're going to have the path of least resistance. The least amount of tension on the string is right there. And I don't know if tension's the right word, but I prefer the term resistance, because the nut is resisting you pushing that up. Okay, so when we talked about the pentatonic scale, I made a point of showing you the notes in the A minor pentatonic. Since we're kind of playing at the 5th fret, we're going to stick with this for now. Right in the middle of the neck. I figure it's good for acoustic players and electric players, and even people with smaller hands. If I were to go to 1st fret, it would be more difficult. If you're even struggling even more, you can go with your hand size. You can go up a little bit further. But what I want to do is I want to look at these notes again. And then what we want to do is we want to go, okay, what's the note here in the pinky? Oh, that's a C. What's the next note in the scale? Oh, it's D. Okay, we play it here in this shape, but what if we played it on the same string? Now we're moving up here. Now we've got 2 notes on the next shape, C and D. So we're going to talk about that, and I think we're going to go down as well. So we'll end up learning what I call pentatonic number 2 and pentatonic number 5. Now I don't have them written out here, but I can write them out on a piece of paper maybe and make them nice and big, and you can see them. And then what I'll do is I'll put them up you know, I'll put them up on the up on the Discord thing. And let's see who's here. Quickly, I'll try to scan. See Keith, I mentioned, Bonnie, and Bob. Guys, you guys are so faithful. I can't believe it. Yeah, it's good. Jim's getting all the bases covered there. Bob Schumann, good to see you again. Ed, always good to see you. And Dennis, hero. David Tillers in Scotland. Need to get out there someday. Someday, my goal is to get to Scotland. Roger, the engineer, good to see you. Diane, the story, the storyboarder. Let's see. Bruce is here. Good to see you, Bruce. How's that cigar box guitar coming? Bruce is making me a cigar box guitar. All of you people know this. Max, how's it going? Good to see you. Jim Horst. Oh, Hero, you're here too. Good morning. So yeah, we're gonna continue to talk about pentatonic number 1, but we're gonna organically learn number 2 rather than just like, okay, here's number 1, here's number 2. You got to memorize these 2 different things. I want to teach you how to create number 2, right? Don't give someone fish, right? Teach them how to fish. I actually am a firm believer in that, and that's kind of. I actually get that comment a lot when I'm on my YouTube. A lot of my YouTube videos, when I talk about different things, I approach it. I guess I don't realize I'm doing it, but like if I'm talking about open tunings or whatever, I always approach it from kind of a creative standpoint. Not here's what you have to know, but here's how you can know it, or here's how you can use it. And that's usually what I like. That's how I think. So my years of just doing rote scales are behind me. So for the most part. So now it's like, okay, how do I use them? And I think Vito is one example of someone who always looking for that magic bullet. And I wish that, for like, how do I solo over complex jazz changes? And I'm like, there's no secret except just do it a lot. But, so I feel like you got to learn the tools, you got to get the tools, and then you got to try to learn to use them. And so learning scales and junk like that is kind of the tool, but learning how to use them is really where the rubber meets the road and where you are going to make people happy by playing music. So what I want to do here with this is less teach you just a rote scale, but teach you kind of a pathway to figuring out how to create scales. Okay. So, and that said, pentatonic number 2, and that again, these are my numbers for him. Don't go to some other guitar teacher and go, oh, so that's pentatonic number 2, and he'll say what? Because this is pentatonic number 1. Dang it, I can't. Here we go. This is pentatonic number 1, and that's my name for it. So I call it number 1 for many reasons, because it's easy to play. It's it's the most common. It's got 3 blues roots and it's got 3 major roots. So you'll see here in the red, I marked kind of red, pseudo red, or almost dark orange. I marked 3 A's, and then here in the orange, I marked 3 C's. And of the 5 shapes, I've said this before, this is the only one of the 5 shapes that actually contains 3 blues roots or 3 minors roots, same thing as the blues. Blues root and minor roots are going to be the same. And 3 major roots, okay? And so the C Major Pentatonic sounds like this. You've heard that before. And then the Minor Pentatonic sounds like this. And you should be able to hear kind of the minor triad, A minor triads in there. And then in this one, the C one, you should hear the C major triad. Grabbing the 12. Gary, okay, Gary, so you won't have to do any bending, okay? No bending for Gary. You can do nothing but slides. And I'm really not talking about bending so much in this one, but this lesson will help you in when you do decide to bend. It'll help you to find out what notes are, you should bend to. Okay, so I'm going to go back to just this basic one. And I like, almost wish I had done one that had the letter names there, A, B, C, A, C, D, E, G, instead of black circles. I've done that before. It's not particularly difficult. You just have to create a bunch of little text boxes and put them all around instead of the dots. It's easier to create the dots. But we know that this note is A, right? A and C. Those are our first two notes in the A minor pentatonic scale, and those are the first notes in this particular voicing of the pentatonic scale, okay? Oh yeah, I forgot you guys were having a hurricane. It's crazy. Why did... Okay, so, and we do have a drinking game. I think everybody's pretty hip to it. The rules are basically if I touch my face, if I refer to myself in the third person, if I use air quotes, this doesn't count. If I change guitars, if I drop a pick, we get a sip. If I drop a thumb pick, we get 2 sips. If I leave the room, if I say there will not be a quiz on this, there won't be a quiz on this. If I say that, you can buy these on my YouTube channel. I just think this is an appropriate, if you're having coffee with your significant other, they won't be listening to you if you drink with this. If you don't want to be listened to, this is the mug for you. Why do I feel like more men are going to buy this than women? It's just my bias, I guess. Okay. If I change my spectacles, is that one, Gary? Oh, that's right. If I could do that. I actually was like the other day. Yesterday I was wearing these and my computer glasses, and I'm kind of squinting, and I went, let me try my other glasses here. Oh, these are better. I just have to move my head, which is not good because I don't want to. That doesn't count, Gary. You can't take a sip. 2.0 scale max. Oh, the amplifier. I didn't know where's the amplifier. I don't smell any fires. Usually if there's a fire, I smell it. We had one in Granada Hills last year, right after we bought the house. The pool had all sorts of ash on it, but for the most part, we were unscathed. Okay, so that's pretty much a grouping of 5. I just love the way that sounds. And what I'm doing is I'm not doing a pure grouping of 5. So normally when you do like a grouping, you would start on one of the notes in the scale and go down however many notes is the grouping. So in this case, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you would go to the next note in the scale and go down 5. So the next note after the high C up here is the A. Now I could do that. Go to that one and go down 5. 1, 2, 3. And just alternate groupings of 5 descending, starting on each individual note. And that's how you create these kind of patterns. These are patterns. These are not, that you can use them in a solo. I touched my ear. Well, I'll give you that one because we need sips. I really don't want to be guilty of dehydration, of giving you dehydration. Oh, out in Riverside. Okay, that's why I don't smell it. But what I did was I did a pentatonic where I did descending 5 groupings, starting this note, then 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 this note. Well, not really on those notes. Just I ended with this one and went groupings of 6 on the last one, so I could end on that low root. So it was, and so that meant having to lay down a finger Right there. I like the sound of that. Now, if I went purely down the scale, it would take a lot longer to get there. So the idea is to kind of get from here to here in a relatively short time span, and thus it's flashier. Anyway, so that's the group of 5. Okay, so again, the bottom 2 notes here are A and C. And the next note in the scale is D. You can see the scale right. I have to point, there we go. If I point to the window, I'm right. I got to remember, point to the window. So you can see after, now it's a matter of trying to aim my finger in a reasonably logical place here. So after C is D. Okay, C to D is a whole step. So we're here at the 8th fret. 8th fret. So if we go up to the 10th fret, now we've got a D, okay? So we're playing the scale like this, or we can play like this. And I'm not bending for Gary's sake, because Gary's got a 12 string, and I didn't want him to break a finger. You guys are just talking conversations. So who's in Florida? Oh, Boynton Beach. Boynton Beach. Max, sounds so familiar. Is that on the Panhandle? Okay, so by doing this, we have the bottom 2 notes of the pentatonic number 1, but now we have the bottom 2 notes of pentatonic number 2. Okay, so I'm going to get a piece of paper and I'm going to write this out slowly as we go. Okay, let's get the next string. So the next 2 notes, the 2 notes on the 5th string, are the 5th fret and the 7th fret. And that's D and E. So after E is G. Well, G is a step and a half above. So we have to go up 3 frets. So go D, E, and then all the way up to G. Okay? So if we do the bottom one. Okay, now we've mapped out the bottom 2 strings of pentatonic number 2. And if we put our second finger on the 8th fret, we go 8, 10, 7, 10. So basically, it's the same notes. We're starting on C and going like in a C. So this is ultimately kind of right here, starting here is a C major pentatonic. Hey, we got the Indian contingency here. We got a Vito and AB. Now all we need is DK. Miss him. I haven't seen him in a... He was here a couple times and then he was gone. Vito, I mentioned your name a little while ago. Now you're like, shoot, what did he say? It wasn't bad. So basically we got... In fact, that's right there is a really good little piece of music you can practice. The C, so 8th fret, 10th fret, 7th fret, 10th fret. You want to practice that going ascending and descending? It sounds like this. The song came to my head. So you got a little piece of the pentatonic number 2 now. Okay, let's go back down to pentatonic number 1. We go to the 4th string. And the 2 notes we have on the 4th string are at the 5th fret and the 7th fret. And those 2 notes are G and A. The note after A in the pentatonic scale, pointing towards the window, is C, which is a minor third. So we're going to go up another 3 frets. So G, A, C. And with that, we've learned the next two notes in the pentatonic number 2, which are the 7th fret on the 4th string and the 10th fret of the 4th string. I know, we got to get... My revenue is way down on my YouTube channel. It's funny. I'm like, oh, man. In fact, I was thinking about doing a video today on maybe on my dulcimers. I have 2 dulcimers, and I have a strum stick, which is basically a dulcimer, but kind of a standing dulcimer, or a gear review. But it's a gear review of a guy that makes just a few dulcimers a month, so I don't know if I want to flood him with orders. I mean, maybe he's already gotten one from me, I think. But hey, Chris, what's going on? Where's Chris? Chris Brown. Good to see you from England, dropping the H's. David Sellers is in Scotland. So now if we look at what we have so far, we have the 8th fret, 10th fret, 7th fret, 10th fret, 7th fret, 10th fret. Now we have a full octave of the pentatonic scale here at the 2nd pentatonic scale here up at the 7th fret, 7th position. And that's the same as the... Oh, Dennis had a question. I missed it. Yes. Let's see. Why not play open strings instead of your 5th fret? Well, we're trying to learn scale shapes. We could totally play an open string instead of 5th fret. But we're trying to learn this shape. And for speed. Harder to play. And I could play... we worked on some pentatonics in open position. But basically right now we're trying to learn shapes that we can move around. So if we use an open string, it's not a movable scale anymore, right? Just like if it's got an open string in the chord, it's not a movable chord. You can still move it, but it's not going to stay congruent. It's not going to stay the same type of chord. One thing though that Jimmy Page did do in Stairway to Heaven was at one point... he hit that open G instead of this note. I don't know. I lost count. I think it's 10 times if I can remember from the years and years and years and years that I taught that song. I made more money in private lessons teaching that song than Zeppelin made on it. Now, I know that's not true, but that was at least a 4-lesson song just to learn the song and not including the solo. So anyway, that's my thinking. Is we're just like we're used. We did some bar chord stuff. We want to learn shapes. Okay, so far we have 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10. And it feels pretty good on the hand. And I love, you could do the little exercise I did with the bottom 2 strings. You could do on the next 2 strings too. So if you want to kind of get that part of the shape under your fingers, literally and so to speak, figuratively, just to make an exercise out of it. If you're trying to go faster, alternate your picking. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay. You really want to go faster. Use minimal movement. Barely touch, of course, with the... Well, you can get away with that in acoustic too, but basically don't dig too deep into the string. The deeper you put your pick into the string, the harder it is to get it out. Okay, you want to just dig a little hole with the pick and get just in there enough to pluck the string and then get out. If you want to use hammer-ons and pull-offs, that's a good exercise. You'll feel that in here if you go. See, I'm hammering on. And then the next string, hammer on and a pull-off. And then a pull-off. So I'm going, once I get going, hammer on, pull-off, pluck, pull-off, hammer on. Technically, that's 6 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm only plucking them twice because I'm doing hammer-ons and pull-offs. Okay, so totally irrelevant. Fucking bored. Oh, another question. Sorry. Dennis has a question. Oh, wait. No, we already got that. Oh, unrelated. Have you ever made a video on making chord progressions for a melody like harmony? It is unrelated. You know what's going to happen. I'm going to spend the next hour on that. I have not. I have not done any videos on that. Tom, sorry. So in other words, if I have a melody or, like would I've done jazz, okay, everybody take a sip. Here's a cool old 40s K archtop. So basically, I have in that in the real book, I would have a chart that has the melody. Oops. And the chords. Oops. What is it? No. What are you doing, Tom? I just did it. So, okay, so D major 7 to, right. So it goes A flat major 7 to D flat major 7 to G7 to C major 7. And so I had the harmony, I had the chords, and I had the melody, and then it's a matter of manipulating your voicings to accommodate. And what you always try to do is you always make the melody the top note of the chord. That way the listener will hear that. If I hid that, if I went, it's about, you wouldn't hear it. See, I got putting that on top. That makes it, the melody's here. So, I mean, the basic, simple takeaway is just make sure however you harmonize it, make sure that the melody note is the top note in the chord that you're playing, in the voicing that you're playing. And then that way the listener will always hear the melody. Okay? So, yeah, there's some major 7, minor 7s, and dominant 7s. All three, it was only 7ths there. So, all right, let me start writing out this pentatonic number 2 since we're. I'll just use some. Let's see, what's that? Okay, I'm done with that. Number 1's a skinny one, I think. So this is going to be pentatonic number 2. And I can scan this, so it's not a big deal. So far, and again, we're at the 7th fret here. We're in 7th position. The first note you play is on the 8th fret on the bottom there, but that's what we have so far, okay? And we arrived at that, okay, by taking that pentatonic number 1 and playing the first 2 notes on each string and then going up to the next note and staying on the same string. Okay, if that makes sense. Basically, what I did was we went A, C, and instead of playing D on the fifth string, we played played D on the. You're like, what are you pointing at? We played D on the E, the low E string as well. Why is my neck getting wider? I guess the necks kind of get wider as they go, right? Yeah, I guess they do. It was inadvertent. Okay. So there's pentatonic number 1. I rewrote out on the fretboard. Okay. So what we did was we just went up to the next note here and got this one. We went to the next note here and got this one, and we went to the next note here, and you can see that the pattern's what we're doing to create the second one. So we're using the first one and our knowledge of the 5 notes of the scale to build the second one. And I feel like that's a really kind of a cool way to learn it. I could just show it to you, and eventually, in just a few minutes, you're going to have it all. So that's fine too. But I just want to show you how, one way you could arrive at it. And there's a real important thing that happens too with guitar players when they're playing in the pentatonic mode. That position, the first notes of the New World Symphony. Right. That's what I was doing. But a lot of guitar players, these shapes that you're seeing, that shape is going to repeat here. It's going to repeat here. Okay? This shape here is called the box. And a lot of players... See, here's the box here. It's the same notes. It's just played different octaves, but they're played the same way. It's really nice. So that's why they're so often used that way, because whatever lick you have here, you can transfer up an octave. Okay. Think about George Harrison's solo on Let It Be. There's 2 of them. One is on the single Let It Be, and one's on the album version of Let It Be. I think the single version is... So I really feel like he's really, really, really aware of the box shapes in that when he's playing that solo. Improvised, maybe, I don't know. They were in the studio nonstop, so he maybe had 50 takes and he finally got one he wanted. So Max has a question. Where was Max's question? Oh, who makes that guitar? Oh, this one. This is a 40s. It's a 40s K. It's a cheap arch top. I mean, these were super cheap back in the day, and it's not a real arch top. It's plywood. I love it. I love it for pop writing, for writing pop songs. I really like it for writing pop stuff on. It sounds really kind of cool for that. And right now I have flat wound strings on it that I actually put on. So I bought this specifically to do that movie Gangster Squad. I used it as an excuse to buy an old guitar. And Alex found that on Craigslist and I bought it. I think I got it for $500. I have no idea. I have no idea what guitar Bon Iver uses, but it's... there's a great guitar player named David Wilcox, and David Wilcox, is that who I'm thinking of? He's a guitar player for a female singer that I've played gigs with. I mean, I did a show on the same bill as them. I can't remember. What's her name? I think it was, is it David Wilcox? I'm mistaking him for the, David Wilcox, there's a fingerstyle guitarist named, David Wilcox. Folk singer, songwriter. Oh. I'm not sure. Now I'm confused. No, this is the fingerstyle guy, David Wilcox. So what's his name? Somebody's going to be really smart. Yeah, that's the movie guitar. I'm losing viewers because I'm Googling. I'm sorry. Ooh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, I would play. You know, Vito, I would go ahead and just do the virtual amps for now. I mean, are you going to be using it live? In the studio, I have no latency. You can adjust the latency, but I have no latency. But if you're talking about using it live and bringing your laptop with you to a gig and everything, I don't know. That's a toughie. But okay, so now let's go to the third string. So the notes on the third string are C and D. Right? So after D and then A minor pentatonic is E, and that's a whole step up. Okay, so here's one where if you're thinking about bending, and again, now we're on the unwound string, so they're easier to bend. You can push them up, and they're skinnier, and it's only a whole step. So usually what you can do when you're first starting out, if you want to practice, do that, and then try to get to the same pitch. It's good for your ear. Ultimately, you want to be in tune when you bend. The other thing you could do is have a tuner on and look. But what's going to happen is if you play generally, like a Vito, if you're playing your Squire a lot, you get to know it. You get to know what a whole step bend at the 7th fret of the 3rd string feels like. Because believe it or not, it's a different amount of tension required to bend the 8th fret to the 10th fret, and then 9th fret to the 11th. A lot of times when you hear that in a song, something like that, they're using this note as the first finger as a reference. And part of the reason they're doing that is to create that sound of that out of tune flutter to being in tune. See, it sounds different if I go, oh, computer, I don't know, how old's your computer? I don't really know anything about computer stuff. Yeah, I mean, if your computer is not like 10 years old, it should be fine. And I'm sure there's free amps you can download. I don't think you would have to spend anything, and you can just plug your headphones into your computer and you can pretty much play. Ring, you're asking, let's see, what was Bruce, you're answering a question. Yeah, and then, eventually you can get a real amp, but yeah, I think I have 16 gigs for my studio. Believe it or not, I don't think, because my studio computer is a 2014. I'm not recording 50 tracks at once. If you're just doing one guitar, you got plenty of, it's not like you're playing a game or anything. It's not like, yeah, you should be, oh my gosh, you should be totally fine. Your computer's like 1,000 times better than mine. And I make records on mine. So yeah, if you're going to record an orchestra and you have multiple tracks coming in and you've got millions of plugins, compressors and reverbs and all that stuff on at the same time, yeah, you're going to need more power. And my next computer, I'll probably have a lot more, but I can tell you right now about this Mac. Yeah, I have 8 gigs of RAM. That's all I have on this computer. And I very rarely, it's a late 2014 iMac. And it's getting to be about the time to get a new one. I hate to say it. It's such a pain. It's expensive too. But I just use iMax because it comes with a screen. I don't, like I said, I'm old. I'm recording this 2 tracks at a time. And even now it's just pretty much just one, since I'm doing mostly direct amps. Back when I was recording my rig and it had stereo outs, I was using 2 inputs. So I just bought an external SSD drive, plugged it in. I'm actually running off of it right now. And I'm very happy. There's 2 reasons I got it. One, I get tired of the spinning drives making noise when I'm trying to record acoustics. And I've never had a complaint from a client, but I can hear it, and it bugs me. So I'm starting to move everything. I'm migrating everything over to SSD drives, I think. And the other thing is they don't get as hot. So it's hot in here right now. It's not gonna be 100 today, but it gets hot in my studio when I've got speakers on, computers on, hard drives are on, preamps are on, headphone amps on. All that stuff is on, and they all generate heat. Well, the nice thing about spinning or SSD drives, they run really cool. And it's super small. I'd show it to you, but it's hooked up and we're using it right now. Yeah, it's not even warm, let alone hot. The only downside to SSD drives, if they happen to crash, you can't get it. You won't be able to get anything off of them generally. So that's my understanding. And I'm horrible. I'm not an expert on this. I'm gonna probably get people texting, well, that's not true, you know. And it's like, yeah, you're right. I don't know what I'm talking about. At least I admit it up front. Yeah. And so and I've heard about those, the NVMe SSD drives. I don't know what I got. I got a, it was not cheap. See if I open up a new, I can do, I have to be able to do this from my, but I got a Glyph, so it's 1 terabyte. It was a couple $100, so it was not cheap. I mean, I could have gotten a 6 gig or 6 terabyte hard drive for like $149 or something, you know, if I wanted another spinning drive. But eventually, when it'll be nice when we get the 10 gig SSD drives, because then I'll be able to use that for like permanent backups. Although again, if the drive dies, you lose everything. So I've actually got a huge Dropbox. I got 2 terabytes of Dropbox, and I don't use it hardly at all. I should probably start uploading stuff there. Anyway, see, that's exactly my point. Although here's the thing: 99% of the stuff that I have on my hard drives, once I'm done with it, I never open it again, ever. 99.9%. What did I say before? So I don't care. If those drives die and I lose all that stuff, it really, really doesn't matter. The stuff that's on my main drive, the settings, the presets and things like that I've saved, that would be a bummer. But I have those are saved via Time Machine, but not to the cloud. So that would be a bummer if I lost all of my presets and settings. But other than that, all the music that I have on my hard drives, I'll never open again because it's stuff, the movies are already out, the games are already released. I mean, there's no reason for me to open them up, even if they weren't, unless the composer said, hey, could you go back and work on this some more? And that never happens. They always send me the latest updated files, and then they say, okay, now add stuff to this one. Also, hey, there's a movie on Netflix called Tread. I haven't watched it. I hate to necessarily endorse it without watching it. It's a documentary, but I did the guitars on it. Tread, T-R-E-A-D. And it's about the guy that built his own tank and then went on a rampage through a town somewhere in America. I forget what. It was like one of those one-day news stories. And so somebody did a documentary on it. And my friend Austin Wintry scored it and hired me to play. And I'll have to look up and see what instruments. Oh, I can tell you because I probably did the IMDb for it. I don't remember the score. It was quite a while ago. Sometimes it takes a while for movie documentaries in particular. Feature films, if you're working on the music, it's coming out real soon. But documentaries, sometimes they go festivals before they come out. This was, well, it says 2020, but that's not when we recorded. Yeah, so I played a lot of things on it. Here's what it says on here on my IMDb. On Tread, I played Mando guitar, which I don't know if I've shown you guys, tenor ukulele, guitar ukulele, treated ukulele, banjo, acoustic, and electric guitar. And treated ukulele was ukulele that I hung a bunch of paper clips on and taped them on to my string so that it would make this buzzing sound. So we were trying to create a sound that neither one of us had ever heard before, me and the composer. So again, that's one of the reasons I think I get work, is because I really try to bring my creativity as a composer and a writer to my sessions as well. And that's real valuable on record sessions. But anyway, so now go back to my... Okay. So now we've got that note. So go 5th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, and 9th fret. And there's our E. So we have C, D, and the next note is E up a whole step. So now our scale is, I'm going to turn off my noise. 8th fret, 10th fret, 7th fret, 10th fret, 7th fret, 10th fret, 7th fret, 9th fret. Now we've got 2/3 of the scale done, okay? Sounds like this. You can turn every one of those pairs into a little exercise. Also, which is cool, I really like doing this, is skipping. So I'm going to play the bottom 2 strings, and then I'm going to jump up to the 4th string. And the reason I do that, for one thing, is good practice skipping strings with your right hand. That's a good exercise, almost more for your right hand than your left hand. But the other thing is it gets a little bit more distance between your solo tones, your scale tones, your notes that you play. Everybody tends to play everything all within seconds and thirds of each other. But when you do this, that's a 5th. You're putting a 5th in your solo ability. So a little bit wider, a little bit more interesting, rather than everything being seconds and thirds. Now you can add some 5ths in there, and it's not like you have to go. You can do it lots of different ways. So anyway, all right. So let me add that to what we have here. So we took this note and we went up 2 frets, and we ended up with an E note. Boom. And now we've got 2 notes here. All right. So there's where we are now. We only have 2 more strings to go. Okay. So now play the two notes in pentatonic number 1. Play the 2 notes on the 2nd string. So we have E and G, and the next note after G in the scale. Dang it! In the scale is A. Right? There's an A after that G. So we go G to A is a whole step, so we just go 2 frets up, and there we are. There's A. Pinch harmonic. Okay. Yeah, is Umbrella Academy good? Well, you're binging it, so I'm assuming it's pretty good. There were a couple things on Netflix I started watching. I forget, one of them was a kid thing. It was kind of Harry Potter-ish, and I was just like, it was okay. But I'll have to check out. Okay. So now we have 5 strings. So it's 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9. And now here's where we have to make a decision. If we're going to be purists, then I would take my 2nd finger and put it on the 8 and play the 10 with the pinky. So you have 8, 10. If we're not going to be purists, then you can go ahead and shift. Okay, because most guitar players, when they play up at this range of pentatonic number 2, they will shift like that. Okay. But it doesn't hurt to be able to do both. That's a great exercise because it's a 4-finger exercise. It's almost like going like this. Look That's a great exercise. There's a Yes song that starts like that. It's like, it's in 13/8 or something. What is it? I don't know. It may be just 4/4, but just with a weird syncopation. Hey, Frank, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Better late than never. Okay, yeah, we're almost to a point. Okay, so now, that's a good little exercise. So 7th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret. Sorry, 7, 9, 8, 10. And then we're going to finish. I'm just going to give it to you now. Well, go ahead and do it right here. Get the top two notes on the pentatonic number 1 is the 5th fret and the 8th fret. You can do that with your 3rd finger if you want. That's kind of a little fun little trick, right? You see that? Oh, Ozark is great. Right. Breaking Bad, actually, yeah, Breaking Bad is kind of, Ozark is kind of like a Breaking Bad, isn't it? My daughter lives in Joplin, Missouri. She lives out there. It's really funny. All I'm doing there is I'm hammering on the 8th fret with my 3rd finger and my 1st finger of my right hand. Now I'm moving it around. Not sure why you would do that. I just started doing it because it was funny. Like it kind of like like almost like a flight of a bumblebee. Like, just sounds like flight of bumblebees or something. So the last 2 notes then on the pentatonic number 2 are 8 and 10. So we have 2 8 and 10s in a row, and here you can see this box, which is the same as this box, which is the same as this one, which is pentatonic number 5, which again my numbering system, not anybody else's. Okay, so let me finish writing this out for you. I'll scan this, and then we can see. We can see how the two are related. Again, the way I'm teaching this is I'm taking pentatonic 1, which we've spent the last couple of lessons on, and I'm taking the scale that we know, and I'm just going up 1 note per string from pentatonic number 1, and that's visualized here in this. Longer diagram here in this one, okay? So you can see where I have pentatonic number 1 down below, and then we're just going up on the bottom string. We went up another whole step in the key, and then we went up 2 minor thirds. You can see that, the bigger step, the 3 frets. And then nothing but on the 3rd string, the 2nd string, and on the 1st string, those are also whole steps, which are those skinny strings, which are the ones we would bend, okay? So if you're on the 3rd string, you on pentatonic number 1, and you're going to bend, on the 7th fret, you would bend to the 9th fret, which is just 2 frets, which isn't too bad. On the 2nd string, you would be at the 8th fret, and you would bend that up to the sound of the 10th fret. And then if you were on the 1st string, same thing. You would be on the 8th fret, and you could bend that up to be, and those would all be in 2 notes, okay? I can scan this and put this up. But this really helps for you to see. Hard to bend that 1st string. Up here. It's easier. The other thing you want to try to do down the road is when you do a bend, try to put vibrato on it. That's hard. Here's what happens the first time you do vibrato on a bend. It falls. You see, it just starts slipping down, and you're like, that's what happens. But I think on the very, very first note of the Stairway to Heaven solo, I think he put some vibrato on there, right? And he also does a lot of pull-offs. If you pluck every note, it sounds a little more frenetic. If you pull off every note, you've got to keep them in time. We talked about this before. You don't want, you know, like that. Right? You want it all to be same as basically eighth notes is what he's playing for the most part, and actually playing 16th notes. But you want to keep them even. You don't want you don't want that. So it's not a grace note. See, that's a grace note. Like when he does it, that's like a grace note. But what Page is doing is they're very even 16th notes. Okay, all right. B Kitty's in the house. That's cool. You're gonna have to go back and in time. I told you we had an earthquake here last week, right? Only damage was one picture fell off our shelf, and it was very close to us. It was a 4.2, and it was actually not very deep in the ground. I think it was only 7 miles deep or something like that. So that's a very shallow earthquake, really. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Gary. Yeah, my dad used to do he used to have a stupid joke. It was, you want to see my imitation of a drunk sailor in an earthquake? Walking in an earthquake, and he would walk a straight line. So, yeah. I was going to do a really, like, lame Parkinson's joke just now, but I'm like, this is not good. It's not good. It's not a good disease. A guitar player friend of mine died of it, and it was brutal. In fact, I bought one of his guitars. I paid too much for it, but I wanted to help him out. And being a typical musician, he didn't have the best insurance. He had high deductible, so he was every year was needing some money, and he wasn't playing anymore. So, oh, okay, yeah. That's let's see, Frank. Oh, how can I make it so loud by hammering on a little finger? Well, for one thing, you can let your amp do most of the work. The other thing is you can generate sound with the hammer-on. Like, I don't even have to pluck, right? So you can practice that without plucking. Just go, put your first finger on the second string on the 5th fret and hammer on the 8th fret and try to get to ring out. So one of the keys of hammer-ons and pull-offs, and I think this is a good thing to talk about in this, is with a hammer-on, you want to be very precise and very fast. If you're a little off, a little sloppy, you want to use the tip of your finger when possible. And that's going to be where you're going to have more bone. So you're going to get more sustain, more volume. And like I said, it's real easy when you got a lot of gain like this. So this is literally cheating. Hey, Richard. Richard Dawson's back. The other thing is speed. If you go too slow, yeah, that's not going to happen. You're muting it. You're not hammering on. So speed, get the tip on there. And then when you're pulling off, you're actually not pulling off the same way you went on. You got to pull down towards the floor. So you're actually plucking the string. So it's a little bit of a, let's see if I can get any kind of visual on this. See how I'm pulling down. You can almost see my finger kind of coil up. And then when I come back, I'm trying to come at from the top. It's a little noisy, all the sympathetic harmonies ringing, but sympathetic harmonics. The but all of these you should practice. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4. I'm changing guitars. I don't know to what yet. This book, this could help with guitar playing, acoustic playing, and everything. It's got some stuff you can ignore in here, but there's some exercises in here that will make you curse my name. Descending slurs, ascending slurs. Those slurs in classical guitar are hammer-ons. And let's see, and yeah, those are hammer-ons. Let's see, descending slurs, I guess they call them. Ascending slurs is when you hammer on. Descending slurs is when you pull off. Okay, so let me just look at some of these. Oh yeah, these are. Oh, I hate them already. So basically, and he's doing it at the first fret. I'm going to go pull the classical guitar up, or my flamenco guitar actually. Mainly so that everybody can take a sip. Okay. He's got it written at the first fret, so it's like 1, 2, 1. And then he's got 2, 3. And then 3, 4. I remember doing these. And then he has 1, 2, 1, oh, 2, 2, 4. See, I'm kind of, you can see how my fingers bent because I'm trying to get lift, so I'm not touching any of the other strings, but I'm still getting the tip of my pinky to make the contact because that's where the bone is. If you're making contact down here in the fleshy pad of your finger down here, you're going to deaden the string more than you're going to hammer, you know. And then what was the other one? 1, 4. Okay, and then 2, 4. No, 1, 3. I'm totally out of tune. Oof, bad. But basically the idea there is, and he does it at the first fret, you could totally do it elsewhere. And I think he even says go up. Yeah, and his it says goals here. Move the fingers quickly rather than from great distance. Empty a finger after it has played. Then shift weight to the next finger and so on and so forth. Okay, and what that means is, I forgot about that. Yeah, but you don't, on electric, I don't think you would do it as much. But basically, after you've hammered on, you can take your first finger off. Go to the next note. It just depends on what you're going to do. If you're going to stay on that string, obviously you're going to want to keep your finger on that string. If that makes sense. Yeah, the name of the book is Pumping Nylon, and I'll grab a link right now from Amazon so you guys can give me some money. How's that for blatant capitalism? Okay, so I click on. Here we go. We're googling here. Did Bob kill Steve? Yes. Okay. Crime solved. 3-second episode of CSI Los Angeles. All right, so I'm kind of concerned about what's going to come up when I type in pumping nylon. Books, okay. It's got 10. There it is. All right. Boom. And you could always get. Okay, here it is. You can always get. Oh, there we go. Copy. Okay, so here's the link. You can always get the Kindle version too. This thing sells a lot though. He's sold a lot of these books. I know Scott. He's a great guy. He's a great guitar player. And there's some really cool flamenco stuff in here too. It's really fun. There's some scales. There's some Bach stuff in here. Let me just read you some of the chapter titles. Yeah, it's Ascending Slurs, Hammer-Ons. Let's see. Where are the chapter titles? Are there chapter titles? Oh yeah. Do's and don'ts, left hand, the right hand, flamenco technique, daily warm-up routine, tremolo, scales, control and velocity, arpeggios, and then afterwards. So, Yeah, he even talks about nail. This is, again, mostly classical stuff. There's also some Giuliani scales in here. So if you never got around to buying the Giuliani scales, I'm sorry, Giuliani arpeggios. And then there's great exercises for like, oh, I got to tune. I don't know why this, I guess the battery's getting dead. Oh, it's a G string is the culprit here. Gosh, you can barely see this. Tom tunes. Not bad. But yeah, there's, you know, let's see, was it? Where's he go? Basically what he does is he takes, a lot of times what I've said in the past is take a difficult passage that you're having, something you're having trouble with, and make it an exercise. And he'll simplify things, like if there's a passage just like that you're having trouble with, he would simplify it by going, you know, because it's the right hand that may not be synced up with the left hand. So there, he'll have exercises in here that I know were basically simplifications of difficult things. And then, like I said, there's some cool flamenco things in here too that you can kind of start working on. Even shows you some rasgueados, which are, and then here's daily warm-up routine, which is actually great. I should do a video on this, except I feel like it would be plagiarizing. Oh, here's the fixed finger exercise. I call the string. It's, what do I call it? The impossible not the impossible exercise, but the finger independent exercise. Killer finger independent exercise. I did 2 of them. So anyway, so there you go. You can check that out. It's I've had that book for years. So it's, and like the pages are falling out. That's how long I've had it. And I've even got some notes in here and some bent down things, and I just can see it. I remember working on this and just going, oh. You know, just some of that stuff is just like, whoo, trying to build up strength in the hand and all that. You know, fortunately, I mean, I'm not a classical guitarist. That stuff is not as relevant for me, you know. I'll do some classical stuff for movies and stuff, but I'm not performing anymore. So, which is nice. So again, here's the, and I'll scan this. Okay, here's the, boom. All right, touching my face, my nose itched. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite. We're going to go down and get pentatonic number 5, okay? Yeah, we're going to do that today. Because this one we won't be talking about bends at all, so it should go faster. All right? So get your guitar picked up, get pentatonic number 1 under your fingers. Okay, bottom note on the bottom string is A. What's before A? G. So G to A is a whole step, so we're going to go down a whole step, and there is the first note of the 5th pentatonic, pentatonic number 5. So we have G and A. Okay, all right. So go back to pentatonic number 1. Okay, and we go down to this note, and that's a D, right? A, C, D. And we go down a whole step from D, and we have, or I'm sorry, we go down, the note before D in the scale there is C, okay? So there's, right there, I see how I pointed the correct direction. And so this is C, and then D right there. Okay, so we have G, A, there's that box. Very easy to play. Good little exercise. And then the other box, an octave above it, is the middle two strings at the 5th fret. And the next box is at the 8th fret on the top two strings. Okay, so that, and again, that's it. A lot of the single version of "Let It Be" solo by George Harrison was played right there in that, on those two notes. Okay, in that key. All right, so let's go to the next string. So pentatonic number 1, the 4th string is 5th fret and 7th fret, and that is G and A. The lower one is G. What's the note before G in the scale? That is E, and E to G is a minor third, so we got to go down 3 frets. And there's E. So now we're all messed up because we were doing first finger, third finger, first finger, third finger. Now we got to go down here. So that's fine, but that's, and then you can go. The next note is that G, right? We went from the G down. So if you'll notice that the top of the top of pentatonic number 1 is the same as the bottom of pentatonic number 2, right there. Okay, see those 6 notes right there, and then these 3, and then those 2. It's exactly the same shape. So that's what we're doing. So pentatonic number 5, which is below pentatonic number 1, is going to have this as one whole side of it. So in some ways, it's a fairly easy pentatonic scale to memorize because half of the notes are going to be right there. All right. The other half are the ones we find below, going down below. Okay. So far now, so we're down here. So now we have 2nd fret, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5. And now that we've got this second finger here, we might want to play it with our second and third finger, or second and fourth finger. Okay. Not critical. You can shift if you want, but for the sake of just fingering it in the second position, we'll do it this way for now. So second finger on the 3rd fret, then 5th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 2nd fret, 5th fret. All of them are going to have the 5th fret here. Okay. Now again, if we're doing a box lick, if you're going to go, then you don't need to finger it properly because you're not even going to be using that part of the scale. You're only going to be using the bottom 2 notes, or the bottom 2 strings. So just so you know, again, guitar players are lazy. We're going to do the easiest thing. We're not going to go, oh wait, the proper way to finger this. That's not going to make any sense. Especially since we're going to probably go down with our 3rd finger. Okay. Now, if we were doing Segovia scales, that's a different thing. Okay, that's all about preparation, but this is not. It's all about practicality and practice and actual rubber meets the road kind of use. Okay, now we got, so we're back to pentatonic number 1. We play it again. And we go to the 3rd string, and that's a C note. What's before C in the pentatonic scale? That is A. So A to C is a minor third again. They're not next to each other. There's a letter in between them. So it's a minor third. So that's 3 frets. 1, 2, 3. Okay? You can play that. 2nd fret, 5th fret. Okay, so we play all of it. So far we have 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5. Let's play it backwards. 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 3. And then maybe end on 5, because that's your root. Okay, there's going to be 3 roots, and there's going to be 3 minor roots in pentatonic number 5, which makes it a pretty good scale for the blues, or shape, scale shape for the blues and for the minor pentatonic stuff. Because we have 3 roots. So there's only going to be 2 C's in here. So we've already, Yeah. So there's a C and here's a C. So we already know that we're maxed out at 2 major roots, okay? And I always say that one of the best things about pentatonic number 1 is it's got 3 minor roots and 3 major roots. It's the only one that has 3 of each. Three A's and 3 C's in this key. All right? And this one will have 3 A's here, here, and ultimately there. But it only has 2 C's. Doesn't mean it's not a good scale. It just means you have one less place to resolve when you want to, if you're playing in the key of C. And George Harrison used that. There's one of the C's right there. Use it again. Use it again. There's the 5th. There's the C right there. Okay, which is in this scale. The number 5. It's also in the number 1. Okay, let's get to the last 2 notes. Okay, we're going to create another box. So the second string, the 2 notes are 5th fret and 8th fret. That's an E and that's a G. So what's before E in the A minor pentatonic? Well, sorry. I don't know. Oh, it's D. So D to E is a whole step. So we only just go down 2 frets, which is a whole step. And there's our note below the 5th fret. Bored. You guys bore me. It's such a one-direction conversation. I gotta be on. You have no idea how hard this is. Okay, so we D, E. Okay, and so there's that. And then if we go up to the top string on the first pentatonic, A, root is home. A and C, and so the note before A in the A minor pentatonic is G, so that's just another whole step down. So here's our little box, 3, 5, 3, 5. Good. What is it? I don't remember the rhythm on it, but it's something like that. It was a Yes song. And that is also there. It's also here. But we'll get to that later. But you'll start to see these shapes kind of replicate. Okay, for example, this shape right here, 2, I'm on the 4th string, see that? 2, 5, 2, 5. And that's E, don't worry about this, that's E, G, A, C. It's the same as here, E, G, A, C. So these shapes start to show up all over the... wait, that's not the right one. Where's that one? See, here when you have a shift, and we're going to get to that one, to the next scale. But we're gonna. So we basically. I'm just basically shifting around from one to the other, going from pentatonic 1 to 2 to 1 to 5 to 2, like that. Okay, so let me write out that shape. I haven't written out any of this. Sorry. And I'll make it a 5 fret neck so that we can not have to have a marker. We'll have a blank fret. Okay, and I'll put X's through the A's, which are the minor roots. Root is home, as Richard said. And this is pentatonic number 5. because they're going to chain link. They're going to do laps around the fretboard. So that's why it's number 5. It's the normally I would teach it pentatonic 1, number 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then you go, oh look, magically 5, shares the side of pentatonic number 1. So here's the 2 new pentatonics that we have. And again, normally, and we're going to talk about pentatonic 2 on Wednesday, I think, if I'm able to get together. If I'm not, I'll let you know. Yes, I'll put this on Discord. Oh, I forgot about these. Let's see. All right, let me scan it right now. And then I'll upload it right now. And I'll do a Discord link because I haven't done that yet. All right. I'm going to do a permanent one. So if we get a troll, we're going to block you. I'm going to block your URL, which would be bad because I think does it block them from Discord completely or just from ours? So set link to never expire. Okay, copied. Here's the link for Discord. Now I'm going to post this in Tom's bookmarks? First I got to scan it. So again, CSI, I should pull up the theme for CSI. Why are you not? There we go. No, I don't want that. Go away. Weird. Okay. There's what I want. All right, scan, sip, scan, sip. Y'all get to take a sip when I scan. That's another rule. Gary, it's going to get crazy because we got like 15 rules. It's going to be like tennis pretty soon. It's like only the Royals will be able to play it because only they will know all the rules. All right, so, what am I going to call this? I'll call this pentatonic 1, 2, 5. Exit. Save as a PDF file. Pent 2-5 or something. Now I'm just going to do 2, 5. Like that, and then I go to the Discord. Close that window. Go to click on Tom's bookmarks. That's where I put all this stuff. There it is. Boom. And I always have to remember upload. I thought that's what I was saying when I clicked the plus button. Upload. It's like, why do I have to click it twice? All right, so it's up there. So what I just showed you is up there. Also, let me see. The CBG build. Yeah, I saw the glue sticking out there. That's really cool. It's really amazing that you can do that, man. What kind of wood is that you're using to hold everything into place, Bruce? Is that just, those are just pine, like, those aren't 2x4s. Those look like really nice, looks like nice wood, actually. Looks like cherry or something. Is Bruce, oh, wait, Bruce may not, oh, Bruce is here. All right. So let's see, oh, Tom Robinson. Yeah, you asked that question. So, green tea sip, good job. Could you print my pic from Discord? Oh, you could print my pic from Discord, or I could send you my Word doc. Okay. Yeah, I can print that. Yeah, I could, let's see, where would that be, though? Let's see, these are all me uploading. Of course, you're updating it all the time. I think we probably just need to create a website. I can link people to. I could put it on. Let's see. I could put it on my. I could put it on my blog. I could do that, and then I could just have the link handy. I haven't done a post in my blog in years. So let's see. It's interesting though. Easy tips for these songs for beginners. Did I actually? Wow. That's kind of cool. I didn't realize I did that. I have a thing, easy songs for beginners to learn. And it's got, I think, links to the, YouTube and basic versions of, where you could play it. I should just go ahead and publish. I'm going to publish this. And let's see, I can create a link, right? Apply labels, revert to draft. Huh. Oh no. Oh, here. Okay, that's that. Oh, here. Yeah. Is there a link? Where's the link? Permalink. Okay. If you haven't ever seen my blog, it goes back before I started doing. There we go. Before I started doing YouTube. Let's see. Question about finding a good pentatonic used when capoing. I'm trying to figure out a song, but I play it with a capo on the first fret, so my A minor chord is really B flat. So the scales don't sound right. Yeah, that's right. So you basically just, since you move the A minor up a fret, you just move the scale up a fret. So if you're playing if you want B flat minor, you see that, again, this is my whole point about learning your fretboard and not just thinking, oh, I'm playing A minor, because you're not, right? It's like, woo. When you got... It's not going to work. And your fingers are thinking you're in A minor, and you're not. You're B flat minor. So you have to just move it up a fret if that's what you did here. So, so if you're in B flat minor, you're gonna have to play B flat minor pentatonic, which is the exact same shape. That's the beauty of these scales, is that they're 100% movable, right? There's no open strings, so when you learn this scale, you've learned 12. When you've learned this shape, you've learned 12. Like I said, in some ways, I would have done it up at the 12th fret if I knew everyone here was an electric guitar player. But I know there are a lot of acoustic guitar players playing on the 12th fret would have been difficult. I just like the sound of it. It's nice and tight. My fingers got bored again. All right. So let's see. Diane, do I have any stories that I haven't told? Did I tell you to save one the other day? Gosh, you practically know my life story at this point. All the good stuff, anyway. I'm not going to tell you any of the bad stuff. For the most part, good stuff. Let's see. It's weird. It's weird how you can go back in your brain and just start thinking about places and things, and it's amazing. You've definitely got your brain is definitely it's RAM memory, right? Yeah, it's weird. I've got Fernando. Fernando, what story? Oh, that's right. I didn't tell the Fernando story. You wrote it down. I forgot about that one. And this is one you all have a story about. And you're like, what do you mean? We don't know Fernando. I said, yeah. But the day that this happened is a day that you all remember. And so I will tell that story here in a second. But yeah. So let's see. What was it? Oh yeah. So yeah, I do. Let's see. What other games am I playing on now? Well, we're doing. I just did all all the music for Watch Dogs. We just finished Watch Dogs, which is a new game coming out, and I think it's Watch Dogs 3 or 4. I can't remember. That's going to be a big game, and I'm also working on one that I'm not allowed to talk about. That is going to be massive, but that's going to be next year. It's not coming out till next year. So, but I've been told I'm going to be working pretty much every week on it between now and next year, which is great. And so I'm just a lot of billable hours there, and it's a lot of fun because it's very creative type stuff. The composer really gives me a lot of freedom to come up with my own things, and sometimes that's really, really hard because music's hard, and you're like trying to come up with variations on things that are already very complex. So it's tough, but it's challenging, and I love that. And then, of course, I got the Bieber record. Scooter tweeted the other day that there's a tour coming. Okay, I get that. Next June, I think. So basically, he was supposed to go on tour this June, and they just moved everything a year. Hopefully, that'll work. Because when he plays my songs live, I get paid every time. I make money every time they perform songs in those venues because they're all signatories to BMI and ASCAP. And if they turn in a set list, that's the key. If they forget to turn in a set list to BMI and ASCAP, then nobody gets paid. But and it's funny because sometimes they won't turn it in. I'm like, isn't Bieber's name on every one of those songs? So he's missing out on literally thousands of dollars every night if he doesn't they don't turn in a cue sheet because he's listed as a co-writer on every one of the songs. And there was one, when he was touring Europe, I was getting, for one of my songs they were doing every night, I was getting like $250 every night they played it. It was my percentage generated $250. I'm like, that's crazy. It was great, but that's rare to see money from public performances. If you did one of the songs on, like, say, Jimmy Fallon, it would be a really good check. So, gamers, yeah. Okay. I told a story a while ago about, and I'm touching my nose so we can all take a sip, about, I'm changing guitars so you can take a sip too. That piano player, John Schreiner, who like hit me to making the harpsichord, or not harpsichord sound, but like a auto harp sound by taking like a really, really thin pick, capoing really high, and playing at the bridge. So I got a super thin pick. By the way, a pick fell on the floor, so I guess that's technically dropping a pick. I'm in a tuning I didn't know I was in. I'm in double drop D. So that's another sip. You got like 3 sips for one. But John Schreiner was the guy that showed me that little trick. And he showed it to me at the rehearsal for this gig, and I was like, and I was going to use it at this gig. And the gig was down in Orange County, just off the 405 freeway in Irvine, I think. I think that's right. It was, I think 405 and the 5 merge in Irvine, and I think it was right around that the merge, the triangle they call it. And I get to the gig, and I've got, it's me. Fernando Ortega is the artist. It's a big church. It's not Saddleback. I'm trying to think what the name of the church was. I think it was Mariners. It was Mariners Church in Orange County in Irvine. Big church. We're set up. We're starting to sound check, and the power goes off. And like, just nothing, So of course the emergency lights kick on. But it was drums, bass. I think it was Glenn Holman on bass, probably. Fernando, John Schreiner. I was playing guitar. There may have been maybe Cameron Stone on cello. I don't remember. But the power went out, and we go out, and somebody's coming towards us, and they're, the transformer on the street blew, and so there's no way that we're going to have power. It's just they have to replace the transformer that was feeding the whole church campus. So we're like, well, what do we do? And so I was there. There was a girl named Lori Pike, and she was a writer for the L.A. Times, and she's friends with Fernando and everybody. She was friends of all of ours, and she and I said, well, why don't we go get something to eat, and then come back and we'll make sure maybe they'll get it fixed or something. And so I think that people were showing up and everything, and they were having to turn people away, which was really a bummer. And so we drive and we go across the 405, and there's all these people standing on the 405 yelling and waving and like, what the heck? The cars are all pulled over, and it's like, what is going on? And then we get to the we just first place we find is some like sports bar that has a pool table. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. We'll get something to eat because I think the NBA finals are starting or something. Maybe we can sit and eat and watch that and then go back over and see if they got the thing fixed. And we get in there and all the TVs are none of the game's not on any of the TVs. It's the it's the O.J. Simpson, O.J. Simpson chase up the 405, and all those people were cheering him on when he was coming back from. He was attempting to go to cross the border in Mexico, and said he was going to the funeral. He was going to the. I guess he said he was going to the gravesite to lay. So that was we sat there in this bar watching this thing happen, and I don't know if that's why the transformer blew because everybody was at home watching their TVs. And when was that? What time of year was that? Was that summer? What was the day on that? Because it may have been where everybody was home watching. Is there a Wikipedia page for it? That would make things faster. 25 years ago. Oh, June 17th. So yeah, very likely it was a warm day. Of course, in Orange County, it stays a little cooler. So, but that was. It was crazy. So Lori and I, Lori's a reporter for the Times, although she was, I forget what I think her was mostly education, university, that kind of thing. She went on to become a teacher. But yeah, that was a very bizarre day because we were set up to do the show, and I don't think I'd ever played. Oh, I had played with John Schreiner. Oh, I got I got some John Schreiner stories. Oh, that's funny. I'll tell those now too because that was kind of a lame story. But I thought it was funny because the context of it you would all know. That was 1994. It was over 26 years ago. That's insane. I remember hearing a joke about what was it? When who's the quarterback for the Broncos for John Elway? When John Elway was quarterback for the Broncos, somebody said, "What does O.J. Simpson and Colorado or Denver have in common?" They both have a slow white Bronco, something like that. Anyway, dumb joke. I did a couple gigs with John Schreiner actually, and it was before this. It was with Beth. Let's see, 96. Yeah, it would have been. Beth was pregnant with Alex, and she was pretty darn pregnant. So it would have been 2 years before this. I was doing a gig with an artist named what was her name? Shoot, I'll think of it in a second. Anyway, and it was Bob Wilson on drums, I believe. Who was playing bass? I can't remember. It was John Schreiner keys. I was playing guitar, and I was just subbing for somebody. Like the normal guitar player, he couldn't do it, so I was subbing for him. I think it may have been Sean Tubbs or somebody like that. Someone really good. And I was kind of subbing, and it was a couple gigs. One was in Orange County at a Christian college. I think it was OCC, Orange County Christian College or something like OCCC. And the other was out in Palm Springs, at some church out in Palm Springs. Crystal Lewis. It was an artist named Crystal Lewis. And so John had played on the record and everything, and Bob Wilson had too. And So Bob's telling us John Schreiner stories. John Schreiner, he played keys for Donna Summer, and they were touring across the U.S. one time, and they were coming to Texas. I think it's outside of Amarillo is that place where if you can eat this 72-ounce steak with a potato, you get it for free if you can eat it in an hour. And John at the time was very a big guy, liked to eat. He actually, I think he married a trainer, so she got him in shape. I haven't seen him in years, but my understanding is he lost a lot of weight, and but back then he was a pretty big guy, and even before that when he was touring, he was even bigger when he was touring with Donna Summer, and John was asleep in the bus, but they said, "Hey, John, wake up! We're going to stop at this place." So they all stopped there, and they said, John, "Oh, sure, I'll try." He goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll go for it." And John was a pretty shy guy, and my recollection of him was he was pretty shy. But he, so he sat down and he ate, and he ate the whole steak, whatever it was, however many ounces it was. It's a pretty famous place. And he ate it in less than an hour. He had 20 minutes to spare. And so he got to write his name in a big book, and then they gave it to him for free, and they all left. And then they're driving, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? Shoot, we never stopped to eat." So they pulled the bus over, and John went back to sleep on the bus. They pulled the bus over to go get some tacos somewhere. And John wakes up, and they go, "What are you guys doing?" He goes, "Oh, we're going to go get some tacos." And he goes, "Well, that sounds good." And Bob Wilson's telling me this story. And then he said, this is a totally different story. John was driving from Orange County up to Hollywood to work with another artist. I can't remember the name of this artist. Another Christian artist, though. He was probably producing the record. John was a big record producer, or is. And coming back, though, from the session in Hollywood, he fell asleep and totaled his car. And this was before airbags, but he was fine, but the car was not, I don't know if it was totaled, but it had to go to the shop. And so then the next day he had to get, a rental car, and he drove back up to Hollywood to do another. And Bob is telling us the story. We're standing out in front of we just done sound check. We're standing out in front of the church and in Orange County. We're just kind of standing on the sidewalk. And Bob says, "Oh yeah." Then he got the rental car. He drives up to Hollywood. And he works late again, and on the way home that night, he falls asleep again and totals the rent-a-car the very night after he had totaled his car. And just as he told that story, at the end of at that moment of the story, a car comes over the curb and we have to jump out of the way because it almost hits us. Because it was like you missed the entrance to whoever was driving missed the entrance to the church. It just kind of went, half of the car was on the driveway and half of the car hit the curb and went up. It was John driving. Oh, there was another John story. They had a million John stories. It's fun. Touring, you'll get that. One time John was late and he didn't have a case for his Oberheim. He had an Oberheim synthesizer. He toured with Donna Summer. And he didn't have a case, or he didn't want to buy a road case for it, so he just kept the box. But what he brought with him he put in the box. He put a box, he'd carry in his bag, his carry-on, a roll of duct tape, right, like the silver duct tape, and so he would just tape up that box. You would just have to, the box would keep falling apart, and he would just tape it back up again and everything. And every time he got on a plane, he would have to tape it up, and so it wouldn't open up and the keyboard wouldn't come out. But it had all the padding in there and everything, so it was actually not a bad way to do it. But sometimes he would be in such a hurry in the hotel room and packing and taping up his thing that, like Bob said, he would look at the box and he'd be like, "What's that?" And it would be like a sock that would be taped to the box. It just got his sock that was on the bed. It got a little too close to his frantic taping of the box, or there'd be a pair of underwear or something just taped to the side of the box. And then one time he was at the hotel room. He had the rent-a-car and everything. He had at the hotel room, and he was running late. The alarm didn't go off, and he woke up and he was like, "Oh man, I got to get to the airport." So he he frantically tapes up his box. He grabs it and grabs his everything, and he puts it in the car, and he goes there and he unloads everything, and he just made it. I mean, he just and the box got on the plane, and he just made it. And the plane's taking off, and he's like, "Oh, I left the car running at the curb at the airport." He totally left the rent-a-car at the curb of the airport with the keys in the ignition just running. I'm just like, and the guy's a complete genius. I mean, he's a genius, which is, kind of the absent-minded professor thing maybe. I wish I knew him better. He always had other guitar players that he called. And back when he was doing a lot of that kind of work, I wasn't the guy that anybody called. But there were so many great John Schreiner stories that were just fun. And I don't hesitate to use his name just because I'm pretty sure these are true. I mean, it was all secondhand from Bob Wilson is the one that pretty much told it. I think with Bob Wilson, it might have been the bass player on that gig, the Crystal Lewis gig. Dang, I may have a picture of that. I can maybe see who the band is. And I doubt if you've ever heard of Crystal Lewis. She was kind of like an Orange County Amy Grant, or she was kind of like, I don't know. I knew I did a weird thing. I know what's her name? Sam Phillips, who used to be Leslie Phillips, and she married. And they're divorced now. She's remarried. Sorry, I'm looking for pictures. Professional. Let's see if they're in here. Because I'd be curious who else was in that band, but that's a pretty old picture. I know there's a picture exists. I just don't know if I grabbed it and put it in this folder. Got a picture of me with Keith, Keith Emerson. That was so sad. Well, there's pictures of me in high school. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I can see the drummer. Oh, no, I can see anybody's face. I can see me and Crystal, and that's it. Everybody else's face. It's at Calvary Chapel. I know that. It's so funny. She had the Bob thing going on. So yeah, no, I don't know who was in it, but it was Bob Wilson. It was the drummer. I'm pretty sure. What's this? Anyway, just going through pictures. You guys, it's like really exciting, isn't it? All right. So Wednesday, if I get together, I may have some work to do Wednesday. I'm not sure. I may have to go out. And tomorrow we're recording 2 more services for our church tomorrow. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday. But if I'm not going to be on Wednesday, I will probably post something here on Discord, on my YouTube community, and maybe even on the Facebook page saying, hey, maybe I'll do Thursday or something. Try to make up for it. But I'll try to keep you posted. But basically, we're going to talk about Pentatonic 2, and we're going to kind of shed that one. Shed it as in would shed it, Charlie Parker would say. And we can shred it too, which would be more what Joe Satriani would say. So that's probably what we're going to do on Wednesday, or our next lesson, whichever comes first. And then and I will have graphics for that one too. Okay, so I'll do. I have them already done. I just didn't import them because the way I was going to come at Pentatonic 2. Now we're just gonna have it, and you're just gonna learn it. We'll just practice it and practice it and practice it and practice it. Okay. So thank you, Richard. And and the biggest pressure on me is coming up with another story. I should have saved the John Schreiner stories for another time, but we will persevere, and I will come up with something. Love you all. You guys all take care of yourselves. Stay occupied. Don't get depressed. Get out there, see some people. Keep some distance if you have to. But let's get past this thing. I'm anxious for it all to be over. You have no idea. So anyway, I'll talk to you soon. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.